Hello, in this lesson we're going to be looking at work plans. So by the end of this lesson you should understand what is meant by a work plan and the different types of work plans as well. Okay, so what on earth is a work plan? A work plan is basically a list of all the tasks and activities needed to complete a project. So if you imagine you was asked to create a poster, you would make a work plan to list all the activities and tell you how long each activity will take you. Okay. One of the key areas in a work plan is the deadline. So if you're creating a poster and they said to you, I want this poster created by the 4th of April, you've got to make sure that the poster is created in time for the 4th of April. So sticking to a work plan is very, very important when looking at the activities. Purpose of work plan then. To provide a timescale for the overall project to be completed. So if it's 4th of April, you need to make sure the work plan doesn't go over that. Map out against time and different aspects of the project. So looking at the timing of it, looking at the time you've got to the 4th of April, for example, and working out how many days you can work on certain bits of the project. Uses of a work plan, pretty much for anything media based. If you're creating a poster, it'd be useful for that. If you're creating a comic book, it'd be useful for that. Websites, be useful for that. Videos, animations, computer games, anything you're making would be useful for a work plan. So this is a quick example of a work plan for you. All you have is an activity. So down this column here, you have an activity. So that the top one, for example, is find images for a mood board. Duration, that's the time it takes, 1 hour. And resources they used, magazines, adverts, and photos. Again, creating a mood board. How long is it? 1 hour, and the resources needed. At the bottom, when this moves out of the way, you'll be able to see it has the total time at the bottom is also 5 hours, 35 minutes. Another example of a work plan is a Gantt chart. These are typically created using Excel, something like that, and they are a little bit more detailed in terms of the day and time here. So, your task here, for example, find images for a mood board. That takes you 1 hour. And you can see here, it says the day, Monday the 3rd. That could be any month, but say it's this month. So Jack, for example, found image for the mood board on Monday the 3rd. He then created the mood board again on Monday the 3rd for 1 hour, but that extended into the Tuesday the 4th. So on and so on and so on. Production schedule. This is typically, or is commonly used anyway, in the film industry. So it's when certain scenes will be shot, where they'll be shot, and the resources needed. So again, record scene 1, team discuss strategy in the sports hall, and the resources needed are access and basketball, and that will be at Monday at 10:45, obviously in the sports hall. What goes into a work plan then? Usually in a work plan, you need tasks. So what elements make up the final project? So it could be, one task might be creating the mood board. So for stuff like that. An activities is breaking down the task here. So if we go back to creating the mood board, the activities in creating the mood board are gathering the images, gathering the resources, that sort of thing. Milestone, these are key points within a project. Often these are dates when stuff have to be completed by. So for example, the mood board has to be completed the second day of the project starting, for example. What goes into a work plan again? Resources. So these are things that you need to complete the task or activity. So if you're making a mood board, you might need a computer, you might need internet to access the images, you might need PowerPoint to put it all together, whatever you're using. Timescale. These are individual timings given to a task. So if you're creating a mood board, how long are you planning to spend on gathering the resources? How long are you going to spend on creating the mood board? It might be 30 minutes gathering it, 30 minutes making it, whatever it's going to be. Contingency. Contingency is a very good idea. If you're working on a project, it's got to be finished by the 4th of April. You need to make sure that you finish that, your time scale or your work plan says you finish that project before the date it's actually supposed to be finished. Because something might not go to plan. You might do a piece of work, think it's done, but you come back to it, it's gone, disappeared. So you've got to find that time again to make up for it. Or you might have a family emergency, for example. So you've got to make more time to plan that in as well. Giving yourself contingency or more time, make sure that you can complete a project just in case something happens. So, things to remember: a work plan. A work plan is a structured list of all the tasks and associated activities that you need to complete a project, along with timescales. Purpose of a work plan to provide a timescale for the overall project to be completed and to map out against time and all different aspects of the project. What to include in work plans: tasks, activities, milestones, resources, and timescales. Again, these two, tasks and activities, there is a difference. Tasks are the actual thing you're making, so it might be a mood board. So you might say, create a mood board. The activities are the breakdown of that. So it could be gathering the resources, or gathering the images, should I say, gathering the fonts, gathering the colours, that sort of thing.